This is Cyrus Wong, AWS Hero, Microsoft MVP, and Google Data Expert. For today, I would like to share something about Git to you guys. And okay, first of all, this is a lot of comment and funny said, oh, you got fire. Oh, you need to, if you're a developer, you got Git commit, Git push, and then leave the building. Yeah. And then for the source code, normally you are from GitHub and Stack Overflow and then combine together. With Stack Overflow or GitHub, everyone can do anything. And if you execute the code, oh, you see another thing. And you must make sure you need to your source code to be work good and successfully. What should you need to do is using Git. And I added this track sheet here, and this is a very important concept. It's a diagram. Overall, you are using Git is you will have the different different stage and database or something. Repository, don't you can think about repository something like a local database, but this is not about the table style. This is a file style database. You will need to have the synchronization between the local and the remote. For example, GitHub or the multiple remote also can know multiple local, and then you will have a when you're doing development, you are in a working directory, and then you have some changes you add to a buffer. Okay, so-called station, a buffer. You put to the buffer, and then from the buffer, you if you several buffers several changes together, it is a commit to a checkpoint, and then you just synchronize your checkpoint from local to the remote with different command. This is the methodology and the story behind Git. It's just the file synchronization logic, but it is a version control to help you keep track of all of your changes from line by line to file, and they help you make sure you will not corrupt your source code easily when you have a lot of developer development together. Um, okay, the version control you need to keep track of your changes of our source code. And here's the example. You see that there's you have got a create and file. A file is a just three line of program there, just set up three variable, and then you continue to add one more line of source code, and then you found it. I want to delete it and something. You will have to changes if you want to delete the second one. You need to make sure you keep track of all your changes so that you can something like time machine. You can track back to the previous time to recover your workable source code, and they have the history record to know what happening on your project. And Git is also a synchronizing code about multiple devices, and you may have the different computer, different office. You just synchronize distribute it. Here is a centralized server, and then you may have different device to do the development, and you may update one of the version. Here is C equal to 3, D equal to 4. Logically, you have two versions, but using Git, you will be able to combine it together and then have the final version in merge into the central repository, and then we will synchronize back all the changes to both your device together so that you can continue development in not just say device, maybe two developer here. You just synchronize source code. There's the core idea of using version control. It's not just Git. In the past you have subversion and other version control, but the core idea is synchronize your source code. And you allow you to train your source code and then without losing your origin. Just as you can, or you are always able to keep track of all of your changes from time to time if you submit your source code to the GitHub, to the Git. And logically, you have the changes here, and then version you got something out, you want to update it, branch it out, and then add something, and then you can continue to combine together. Logic normally we will this is something logic we call branching. When you have something want to train with in logically you in version control technology, you will create a new branch. It is called a branch, and then you update your branch and then combine merge it back into the main branch. This is the this is logic. But we will see more source code and command later. You can version control so that you can go to previous version. If you here's a commit, the first creation of file, add a line and delete a line, you can just roll back to add a file or anytime. And GitHub is already under Microsoft, one of the sub company, and this is something very successful. Actually, you don't think about GitHub; it's just a central database. It is a social network for developer, and then there's a full of knowledge and full of information, and this is very really important. And you except for GitHub, there's other option. But normally, if you don't want to think too much about other consideration, but using GitHub will be very good for you. You have a centralized repository, so for it's we can in the cloud in Azure, maybe it's centralized and then and accessed by internet, and then you will have a project. We will so called every project or everything is under a repository, something like a folder. Repository, something like a folder, but we not call it folder, since a folder will not be able to support version controls, time machine. We want to be a lot of feature. We call repository, and this is a methodology or connection of related source code file on everything file based, and we can very easy to create a repository using command line or user interface in GitHub. You just click and then type something. But first of all, when you create your repository into GitHub, or before you want to doing it, you need to clone it back. Okay, clone it means make a copy to your local machine or any computer. You just make a local copy from from GitHub, just from the cloud, and then get it done. And then you just clone it. You will get a copy. This is a full copy of all the version in general, unless you say you just want to clone some branch, but in general you just clone everything from GitHub, and then you start just very simple git clone and URL. If you are using the private repository, you need to log in, but if you are using public one, it will give you to copy the source, copy everything. In general, we will move your source code from working directory to the staging. For example, you are start working on your program, and then you modify it, and then you will have you will want to physics. Okay, you will add it from you will call it from a git add. But if you don't want to add single file, you will add more. Always I always do what a or user interface. The add command, what does it doing? Is in this diagram, the git add will be your working directory, and then you want to buffer it into the staging before commit. You see, you don't want to commit all of your file at the same time. You just want to commit some file actually. So here you have the control to add the file one by one, or add everything. Or with some filtering, you can do it very easily, or just using user interface, click it. Okay, and yeah, this add. And then since you are working on your project, it may have a lot of changes all the time. You need to take a look to the status, since you don't know which file is changed, which file is already put into the staging. You just click on git status. It will show you the status in working and staging straightforwardly. And commit is physics. Okay, you put the file from the working directory to the staging, and then you commit it. It means it will save into your local repository, your local database, but this is a file-based database. You just commit it. Normally, you modify it and then commit. It will become all the staging file. Okay, all the staging file will put into the local repository, and then the working directory when it unchanged. Okay, it save it. And normally you commit your source code, you will need to add a comment. Otherwise, you can't train it. You don't know what is happening. This is a bad practice. Sometimes people will not put comment. People will put some comment is meaningless. This is very very bad practices. You don't. This is not a good developer. You commit to the you once you can add the file and then commit it, it will save into the local repository. Then we want to update, we want to synchronize or upload from your local machine to the GitHub or the not just GitHub or any remote repository, so-called remote repository, and you will use a push command. Once you push it, you will not just make a copy. In your local, remember, in your local repository may have multiple commit or a lot of changes. When you push it, you will synchronize all your commit into the GitHub. But this is some magic behind the scenes. Since here is quite straightforward. Since you are the only developer have a commit, and then you push it. Is it very well? Always working. But if you have there is multiple developer and to work together into single branch, it may not be able to merge and able to synchronize. You need to think about this. If everyone train the same file, how can we make sure we will not overwrite other people commit the source code? This is something, a magic behind the scenes. And okay, we just move from local and then push to the remote. From other direction, you can upload file to local to GitHub. You can also download file from the remote to local. Yeah, just reverse direction. You see, every time, in the morning, after the day you leave, you maybe take a leave at one day, and other people already commit the new source code, and then already push into the remote repository GitHub, and then when you start your development, first thing you need to do, remember, pull the source code back so that you will get the latest version of your source code from GitHub, and then continue your work. It may not be always working all the time, since there's maybe some conflict, you need to resolve it. We will explain more later, and also we will do a lot of exercise on GitHub to handle this kind of problem. And remember, proof is downloading thing, and then you will have the exactly same copy of repository synchronized together. Two of the file system is the same. In case there will be some conflict, it is possible, since here is very different. You can C equal to 5, but your local version has C equal to 3, and then under some condition since GitHub is very smart, it will keep track of all the file modify time and who committed whatever. We will know that this may be not working. If you override it, you will lose your source code here. Maybe I don't know how to do it. You need to merge it. You will receive a message so-called conflict happen. You need to resolve your conflict before combine those source code together. For example, you will sometimes see this kind of message in your source code when you try to merge download the source code. It will tell you that there is conflict. It means some file have some source code. You may edit, and then your friend also edit in the same line, but you should consider both of the source code together or just override it. They don't know, no one know. So you have to do it yourself. Take head, it means other source code. Here is your source code. You take your source code or their source code, you need to consider and then combine together, and then you resolve the conflict. It means you update the source code to remove those lines and the final source code, and then you need to make a new commit to put it up, and then before continue the development. Okay. And since we need to have the historical record, as you don't know what's happening, you just take it log. You will see all the comment and historical data about what they are doing, what file changes, or follow only one file, the train of the source code from time to time. It is very useful. But when you're doing this kind of work, you will be very complicated, since there is a lot of branch, merge, and a lot of developer. It is a method. It is a arc of manage large project and a lot of source code. And you can go back to time, jump back in the time, back to the future. If you found something wrong in the second slide, if you found something wrong, it's very dangerous maybe. Yeah, you just reset head. Reset head, you put the commit number, or reset head to the latest version, latest committed version. It will reset your source code. And from the diagram, if you reset, okay, you reset from staging to local. You just put just remove the staging file back to here, and then if you reset a commit just mentioned in the slide, you just back to the time. Git command you can a lot of historical. For example, normally you git is a we will have an exercise so-called git flow and git branch exercise. It's just something like that. You manage a tree. Actually, you manage also something like manage a tree. You will have initial commit. You have small update, large update, new feature, more feature. Then, or maybe after the large update, there's some problem. If there is some problem, we will back to the time to redo again, and redo the bug fix, and then add the new feature again. It may not be very good for the real situation. Since you to delete all the commit here, it's not making sense. You feel the problem, you back to the bug fix, and then you add the new feature again. This is another style of working. We will take a look. But logically, you can do something like that. To solve the problem, you don't want to delete your source code. You just want to update it and then combine together. We will have a the concept of branching. A branching, it means you have a second version working it, and then later we will combine together. And we will have a second branch to edit and do whatever you like without impacting the production environment. The main branch, normally we call main branch, and the initial small update, large update, oh, new feature. We create a branch, don't touch it, and then more feature. After we complete the feature, we can actually for other developer or in case here we can have, oh, we found the problem, but the feature is I want to keep it. We will bug fix this, and then finally this is the master one. We have the bug fix, but the new feature is not released. This is the temporary situation. And finally, we so-called head, and we can move the head from here to here. When you're doing development, you can always go to and from. You just move your head to different commit, then your source code will become that version, that's time. And finally, when we complete the feature and bug fix also, you can just combine it together to combine the merge source code and new feature together to have the latest version of your software. This is the classical one, we so-called merge branch. And to create a branch, git branch a name. Sorry, to check a branch, git branch, create branch a name, create branch, check out to move other branch, merge the branches, combine them together. You can take a look to the track sheet here, but this one is not the focus on this area. Later we will have a lot of exercise on this. For the remote one, it's a little bit extra level. You synchronize your local version and then you combine the remote version. You will have a lot of commit in the remote and local. This is both of them so-called master. And then you fetch it. You know there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2 more will be downloaded from you. You will able to check the differences, and then you will download the version of source code you don't have. And in case you may need to merge it, since you flash it down, it may have conflict or may not working. We may need to merge the branch to the master, and then you have the master branch here, and then you can pull to continue. This is another concept so-called fork. When you're working on open source project, you can't touch the main project, but you can create a fork. It is something like Kong, but the fork is a total repository into your own account. This is your own GitHub account. Yeah, you fork it. When you are working on project, for example, you fork it, and then you can full control the it. And then after you fork it, and then you do a lot of development, you can have a something called higher level, not just in the diagram, so called pull request will be mentioned next. This is something called pull request. And in this diagram, you suppose this remote repository is owned by you. But for the case that we can have other remote repository but not under you, but you just fork it and then continue development, and then we will synchronize the pull request or something. It just means that there's a multiple remote repository, but this is not owned by you. It's owned by Microsoft maybe, and then you want to contribute to Microsoft. You just submit your source code to Microsoft. Microsoft guy will review your source code and bug fix and then put it together into their repository. This is something called pull request. This is pull request. Pull request is that you just have force something from other, and then you do the bug fix or development, and then you completed it. You can ask the original owner to get back your contribution. So the pull request is terminology to raise someone to get your contribution. This is something in GitHub. And topically, we provide someone to fork their own to copy the repo. You make a code base a copy, and then do your work, and then ask them to get it back. And pull request you can merge from your own branch or your branch. You have a lot of something merge multiple repo. GitHub page is something you can write it, and then you can effectively to have a website, something like the GitHub page. But this is not important here. Okay, thank you very much for the short lecture on Git.